Hola de nuevo, hermanos y hermanas. Espero que tu día esté yendo bien. Estoy vivo, estoy bien. Gracias a Dios por otro día, por supuesto. It's a beautiful day here in Nova Scotia, so I thought I'd come out to the yard to have my health chat with my viewers. 感谢你对我一生的工作感兴趣. Thanks very much for your interest in my life's work. I understand that I have a very different understanding on human health and consumption. My perspective is very much so developed from a longevity of efforts, studies in medical books and studies online, but ultimately the most valuable study that I did and the most impressive study I did was in my practical use and my dedication to developing my own true health. And in doing so, I have developed a lot of different perspectives on it, but very maturely, I've taken everything that the professionals have been telling me and the medical professionals have been telling me. And if it was true, I'm more than happy to honor that from my understanding. And then if something was bullshit to me, well, I was comfortable to just release it and figure out exactly what I felt would be proper for human health. Now, it's my understanding that this is not because I'm Canadian or male or that I speak English. It's because I'm a human being. And so in that, anybody that's able to understand the English language, I can get you the information. I have a very logical, reasonable, and practical way for you to relate your eating to the functioning of a computer and the reproduction process. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but if you just remain mature in your mind and understand that I'm trying to help you understand your own health as a human, this is how I would like you to consider it. The food on the outside of your body is in one format, like an MP3. And then you put it into the computer, which is your mouth. And then from there, it goes to the file transfer, which is your stomach. And then once the file transfer does a good job, the file can go into your body in the proper format to be recognized and used properly by the body. What does the body need? What files does it need? Well, I'll get to that in a second. But if it goes into the file transfer and the file transfer is not healthy or can't do the proper work or can't transfer that particular file into the right format, well, the body isn't going to really recognize that file, and it's just going to pass as waste, even if it was something that should have been used but couldn't be recognized. So it's really important that you have a healthy stomach, because that would be your file transfer, which obviously is directly affected by what you put in the computer. Now, what is it that it needs? It needs you to make your own babies within yourself. You have to remain mature in your mind. And what I mean by that is your enzyme, I'm confident you've heard the term before, but if you don't understand them fully, it's okay. A lot of people don't. Well, I do. So you want to think of your enzyme like your baby, and you want to make as many babies within yourself as you can. And how you do that is like naturally, right? Like your own natural efforts, creating your own natural babies within yourself. And how you do that is your vitamins are like your females and your minerals are like your males. So if you include both of them regularly in good varieties, you won't have to know which key fits into which lock, because that's nature's reward for you taking responsibility for your own health. Your body is just going to know what keys go into what locks, and it's just going to unlock those things for you. But it can't unlock it for you if you don't put the keys in. And the keys are the minerals. Most people understand they need their vitamins, but I don't think a lot of people understand the significance of the mineral. Because if you put a lot of vitamins in, you'll still get healthy, and you're not going to avoid all minerals likely, so you're going to get some of them activated, but not to the satisfaction of your body, based on how our market has been completely flooded by bullshit products, and a lot of people have a false understanding of their own degree of health. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. Obviously, the way we have been eating, it's not working for us. But I think you will very logically understand what I mean by that. Now, when getting your grains, you're going to want to kick white breads, because if you just simply switch to a grain bread, well, most people eat bread most of the time. So, that'll include that for you. White rice does have some of the grains, but white is a little bit empty in that way when it comes to foods. Like, white potatoes aren't bad for you, but there's a very similar reaction in the body from white rice to white potatoes. And if you know about food and body, that makes sense to you too. I think you would understand that regardless, because it's very intuitional. But then if you go to more of a dark grain quinoa, well, that's going to have more of the minerals that you need. Wheat germ, that's the stuff the wheat grows from down in the ground before it even comes out. That has the most variety of potent minerals in the most natural sources. And it is such an amazing product in reference to this conscious eating program that I have going, because you can literally use it every day, because it doesn't have any taste. You can use a small amount at a time, and it's so easy to use. My son will eat scrambled eggs. I put a little bit of almond milk, a little bit of wheat germ in, stir it up, scramble them. He doesn't even taste the wheat germ. He doesn't even know, but his body knows. And that's the point. He does get it in there, so all those minerals are just ready to activate whatever vitamins he does have. So you can see how scrambled eggs would work. You could sprinkle it into a pasta sauce. It'll just radiate the health into the pasta sauce. You could get a peanut butter sandwich and sprinkle a little bit inside a peanut butter sandwich, put it together. It's just about getting it into the file transferer to keep the file transferer in good state to properly transfer all the files to all the necessary required formats for your body to recognize them, because otherwise it'll just get passed as waste. One strong example is, it's common for people to have B12 issues modernly, and it's also common for them to acknowledge that and be trying to correct it for themselves, but find themselves pumping B12 in and not really doing anything. Now, B12, by the nature of B12, the type of file it is, when it goes into the file transferer, it needs to be really pounded into dust. And if it's not, it doesn't matter the quantity that you put in, because the file transferer is not able to properly bust it into small little dust before it passes through. So every bit of that B12 that goes through is not properly transferred. So not a lot of it, or at least most of it, right? So not a lot of it is getting recognized the way you need it to. And it goes back to your stomach health. But it's well in my understanding that including the minerals takes care of your stomach. That's one of the roles of the minerals in that process, because the vitamins are going to have more influence over your true health after they're activated by the minerals. So, in my understanding, on the outside, when it's in that format and it goes in, well, that's waiting to fertilize everything and make everything proper files for your body. And when you do give it the proper things to make your own babies per se, things that may have given you extra body mass before will not, because your body will have no problem releasing the garbage that you do eat. See, it doesn't mean that you have to stop eating anything. It just means you have to consciously eat it. And when you do put the proper things in this way, you're not hungry as often, and you don't even really want the bad things as much, because it's just a totally different understanding of eating, respectfully. But it's a very mature, very healthy way of eating. If you are not giving your body the vitamins and minerals that it needs, your body is still going to ask you for them. And it still needs them, and you're still not giving it to them. And what it does is, it starts to store water and garbage that It wouldn't normally store, it would just flush. But it's afraid that it's starving to death because it has needs and you're not giving it what it needs. So in that, it bulks up out of fear of starvation. But it's not afraid it's going to starve because you're not feeding it. It's because of what you're feeding it. A lot of our diseases are not going to disappear in a medical room. They're going to disappear in our kitchens. A lot of the problems is because we're still eating the foods that trigger the problems. We have to stop eating those foods. Cancer's not going away. None of these problems are going away. We're in a pandemic. It's only getting worse. And it's been 20 to 40 years of a lot of these products being normalized. And that is not a coincidence. And if you think that what we are eating is not connected to our degree of health as a population, that is a very naive way to think. Our food and our drink is the main thing that affects our health. Another thing is our mental health. And I have posted a video maturely discussing self-sustainable mental health. If you feel like you could use a mature conversation about mental health at this time, you might want to give that a listen. But I think that my viewers would be able to appreciate how that all came together. Now, one more thing before I go. Here in Canada and America, a lot of the fast foods have been very normalized more and more by the decade, going back probably about 40 years, but really triggering maybe about 20 years ago. And here in Canada and America, we do legitimately have more humans suffering side effects of that diet. And we know what it's doing to our bodies. It's not going to stop doing that to our bodies. That is what it's going to do to our bodies. Now, I hope you can receive this next part maturely. A lot of that has been in China for, not as long, maybe like really thickly, maybe 15 years, right? 10 years. But now a lot of the people there are developing a lot of similar health issues. That's not a coincidence. And to top it all off, those foods and those health problems are not in countries that don't have those foods, like India. It's very serious. So we keep eating them, and that is what it's going to do to our children. And we have to reach a point where we just, take better care of our own health, because all these products are passed and normalized by the FDA and Health Canada and all of them. It's all the same, because this health information is not because I'm Canadian or because I'm male or because I speak English. It's because I'm a human being. And you could say I talk a lot about the FDA, and I do because I just understand the situation better than you do. But the same energy drink that can get people hooked in America is getting people hooked in Canada. And the same fast food that's hurting the people in America has been hurting the people in Canada. So you really have to drop your borders when it comes to human health, because it doesn't matter your position on the planet. As a human being, you need your vitamins, your minerals, and your enzymes. And if you can naturally make sure that you yourself give yourself your vitamins and minerals, nature will reward you by putting all the keys in all the right locks and rewarding you in your own special ways. I really know that this is going to work if you can take it seriously. It's not my rule, and I really have done a lot of extremely impressive things with my health throughout my life. I do live completely food addiction free, and it really does change the quality of my thoughts and the way I perceive things, because I can remain more logical, more peaceful. But that's my timer. It's gonna go off around 15 minutes. I have to do that or I keep ranting. 我爱你, man. I love you all. Dormir bien y siéntete bien hoy. Eat good and feel good today. 对所有人的和平与爱. Gracias a Dios por otro día. 再见.